Okay, welcome to part 2 of our America's Founding Documents. Right now we are going to do the Constitution of the United States. And if this isn't too long, we will also do the Bill of Rights. So again, this can be found in the National Archives, and I will link in the description box below. Hang on, let me get some things out of the way here. I don't think I can make this any smaller. Maybe if I move back a little bit, you can see it. All right, the Constitution of the United States, it says, and this is the preamble to the Constitution: we, the people of the United States, in order to form a more perfect union, establish justice, ensure domestic tranquility, provide for the common defense, promote the general welfare, and secure the blessings of liberty to ourselves and our posterity, do ordain and establish this Constitution for the United States of America. So we will go down here. And we will read. We might have to do this in parts, because look right over there. We have all these sections. But we will just start and we will see how this goes. All right, section 1. Sorry for my fingers. All legislative powers. Okay, Article 1. Section 1. All legislative powers herein granted shall be vested in a Congress of the United States, which shall consist of a Senate and House of Representatives. So here, folks, they're laying out how our government is to be run. And according to the Jasara Nasara, we are going back to a constitutional United States. And even on Donald Trump's inauguration day, he said he was giving the power back to us, the people, and this is what he means. We're going back to what? These rules right here, what our founding forefathers set out for us. We are going back to these rules because we all know right now things are not according to these rules. So section 1, all powers granted shall be vested in a Congress and shall consist of a Senate and House of Representatives. Section 2, the House of Representatives shall be composed of members chosen every second year by the people of the several states, and electors in each state shall have the qualifications requisite for electors of the most numerous branch of the state legislature. No person shall be a representative who shall not have attained to the age of 25 years and been 7 years a citizen of the United States, and who shall not, when elected, be an inhabitant of that state in which he shall be chosen. Representatives and direct taxes shall be apportioned among the several states, which may be included within this union according to the respective numbers, which shall be determined by adding the whole number of free persons, including those bound to service for a term of years, and excluding Indians not taxed, 3/5 of all other persons. I wonder what, if we click on that, what happens. Let's just go back to where we were. We can explore all these highlighted areas more. All right, the actual enumeration shall be made within 3 years after the first meeting of the Congress of the United States, and within every subsequent term of 10 years, in such manner as they shall by law direct. The number of representatives shall not exceed 1 for every 30,000 people. but each state shall have at least one representative, and until such enumeration shall be made, the state of New Hampshire shall be entitled to choose 3, Massachusetts 8, Rhode Island and Providence Plantations 1, Connecticut 5, New York 6, New Jersey 4, Pennsylvania 8, Delaware 1, Maryland 6, Virginia 10, North Carolina 5, South Carolina 5, and Georgia 3. And just by this number right here, each state shall have one representative per every 30,000. So that tells you we do not have the proper number of representatives for our population. Some countries or some states may have more, some may have fewer. And that's probably the purpose of the census. Number 1, to judge our population, but 2, population per state. So we will see. When vacancies happen in the representation from any state, the executive authority thereof shall issue writs of election to fill such vacancies. The House of Representatives shall choose their speaker and other offices, and shall have the sole power of impeachment. In section 3, the Senate of the United States shall be composed of 2 senators from each state, chosen by the legislature thereof for 6 years, and each senator shall have 1 vote. Immediately after they shall be assembled in Congress of the first election, they shall be divided as equally as may be into 3 classes. The seats of the senators of the first class shall be vacated at the expiration of the second year. Of the second class, the expiration of the 4th year, and of the third class, the expiration of the 6th year, so that 1/3 may be chosen every second year. And if vacancies happen by resignation or otherwise during the recess of the legislature of any state, the executive thereof may make temporary appointments. Make sure we're still going. May make temporary appointments until the next meeting of the legislature, which shall then fill the vacancies. No person shall be a senator who shall not have attained to the age of 30 years, and been 9 years a citizen of the United States, and who shall not, when elected, be an inhabitant of that state for which he shall be chosen. The Vice President of the United States shall be President of the Senate, but shall have no vote unless they be equally divided. The Senate shall choose their officers, and also a President pro tem in the absence of the Vice President, or when he shall exercise the office of President in the United States. The Senate shall have the sole power to try all impeachments. When sitting for that purpose, they shall be on oath or affirmation. When the President of the United States is tried, the Chief Justice shall preside, and no person shall be convicted without the concurrence of 2/3 of the members present. Judgment in cases of impeachment shall not extend further than to removal from office and disqualification to hold and enjoy any office of honor, trust, or profit under the United States. But the party convicted shall nevertheless be liable and subject to indictment, trial, judgment, and punishment according to law. Section 4. The times, places, and manners of holding elections for senators and representatives shall be prescribed in each state by the legislature thereof, but the Congress may at any time by law make or alter such regulations except as to the places of choosing senators. The Congress shall assemble at least once in every year, and such meeting shall be on the first Monday in December, unless they by law appoint a different day. So apparently we appointed a different day. Each house shall be the judge of the election, returns, and qualification of its own members, and a majority of each shall constitute a quorum to do business. But a smaller number may adjourn from day to day and may be authorized. Well, let's back up to number 4. This doesn't, let me see. All right, so the first, up here in number 4, This first paragraph deals with holding elections for senators and representatives. Each state will pick their own day, but Congress may alter that day or choose the place, except for the choosing. All right. And then it says the Congress shall meet at least once in every year, and that meeting shall be on the first Monday in December. So at what point did they think that they had to meet every day of the year to conduct business when our Constitution right here says at least once a year? Each house shall be the judge. All right, so on to number 5. Each house shall be the judge of the elections, returns, and qualifications of its own members, and a majority of each shall constitute a quorum to do business, but a smaller number may adjourn from day to day, smaller number, and may be authorized to compel the attendance of absent members in such manner and under the penalties as each house may provide. Each house may determine the rules of its proceedings, punish its members for disorderly behavior, and with the concurrence of 2/3 expel a member. Each house shall keep a journal of its proceedings, and from time to time publish same, except such parts as may be in their judgment require secrecy, and the yeas and the nays of the members of either house on any question shall, at the desire of 1/5 of those present, be entered into the journal. So this part is probably what we find in the National Archives. Neither house nor the session of Congress shall, without the consent of the other, adjourn for more than 3 days. Let me see. Neither the House nor the session of Congress, without the consent of the other, adjourn for more than 3 days, nor to any other place than that in which the 2 houses shall be sitting. All right, I'm just going to read. We're going to keep my comments to myself. We'll go through this. We'll dissect this later. Section 6. The senators and representatives shall receive a compensation for their services to be ascertained by law and paid out of the Treasury of the United States. They shall, in all cases except treason, felony, and breach of the peace, be privileged from arrest during the attendance at the session of their respective houses. And this is why, I know I said I was going to keep my opinions to myself, so I will. And in going to and returning from same. And for any speech or debate in either house, they shall not be questioned in any other place. No senator or representative shall, during the time for which he was elected, be appointed to any civil office under the authority of the United States, which shall have been created, or the emoluments whereof have been increased during such time, and no person holding any office under the United States shall be a member of either house during his continuance in office. Number 7, all bills for raising revenue shall originate in the House of Representatives, but the Senate may propose or concur with amendments as on other bills. Sorry, I don't know what just happened here. Hold on, let me figure out. There we go. Sorry about that little glitch. All right, every bill which have passed the House of Representatives and the Senate shall, before it become a law, be presented to the President of the United States. If he approve, he shall sign on it, but if not, he shall return it with his objections to the House in which it shall have originated, who shall enter the objections at large on their journal and proceed to reconsider it. If after such reconsideration 2/3 of the House shall agree to pass the bill, it shall be sent, together with the objections, to the other House, by which it shall likewise be reconsidered. And if approved by 2/3 of that House, it shall become a law. But in all such cases the vote of both Houses shall be determined by yeas and nays, and the names of the person voting for and against the bill shall be entered into the journal of each House respectively. If any bill shall not be returned by the President within 10 days, Sundays excepted, after it shall have been presented to him, the same shall be law in like manner as if he had signed it, unless the Congress by their adjournment prevent its return, in which case it shall not be a law. Every order, resolution, or vote to which the concurrence of the Senate and House of Representatives may be necessary, except on a question of adjournment, shall be presented to the President of the United States, and before the same shall take effect, shall be approved by him, or being disapproved by him, shall be repassed by 2/3 of Senate and House of Representatives, according to the rules and limitations prescribed in the case of a bill. Section 8. The Congress shall have power to lay and collect taxes, duties, imposts, and excises, to pay the debts and provide for the common defense and general welfare of the United States. But all duties, imposts, and excises shall be uniform throughout the United States. To borrow money on the credit of the United States, to regulate commerce with foreign nations and among the several states and with the Indian tribes. To establish a uniform rule of naturalization and uniform laws on the subject of bankruptcies throughout the United States. To coin money, regulate the value thereof in a foreign coin, and fix the standard of weights and measures. To provide for the punishment of counterfeiting the securities and current coin of the United States. To establish post offices and post roads. To promote the progress of science and useful arts by securing for limited times to authors and inventors the exclusive right to their respective writings and discoveries. To create tribunals inferior to the superior court. To define and punish piracies and felonies committed on the high seas and offenses against the law of nations. To declare war, grant letters of marque and reprisal, and make rules concerning captures on land and water. To raise and support armies, but no appropriation of money to that shall be for a longer term than 2 years. To provide and maintain a navy. To make rules for the government and regulation of the land and naval forces. To provide for calling forth the militia to execute the laws of the Union. Suppress insurrections and rebel invasions. To provide for organizing, arming, and disciplining the militia, and for government such part of them as may be employed in the service of the United States, reserving to the states respectively the appointment of the officers and the authority of training the militia according to the discipline prescribed by Congress. To exercise exclusive legislation in all cases whatsoever over such district, not excluding 10 miles square, as may by cessation of particular states of particular states and the acceptance of Congress, become the seat of government of the United States, and to exercise like authority over all places purchased by the consent of the legislature of the state in which the same shall be, for the election of forts, magazines, arsenals, dockyards, and other needful buildings, and to make all laws which shall be necessary and proper for carrying execution the foregoing powers, and all other powers vested by this Constitution in the government of the United States, or any department or officer thereof. Excuse me just a second. All right, number 9. Let me see. Let's see, we're right up here on number 9, so. And we have 7 articles. So we'll go down here to number 9, keep chugging. I may split this into 2 parts. All right, number 9, the migration or importance of such persons as any of the states now existing shall think proper to admit shall not be prohibited by the Congress prior to the year 1808, but a tax or duty may be imposed on such importation not exceeding $10 for each person. The privilege of the writ of habeas corpus shall not be suspended unless when in cases of rebellion or invasion the public safety may require it. No bill of attainder or ex post facto law shall be passed. No capitation or other direct tax shall be laid. unless in proportion to the census or enumeration herein before directed to be taken. No tax or duty shall be laid on articles exported from any state. No preference shall be given by regulation of commerce or revenue to the ports of one state over those of another, nor shall vessels bound to or from one state be obliged to enter, clear, or pay duties in another. No money shall be drawn from the treasury, but in consequence of appropriations made by law, and a regular statement and account of the receipts and expenditures of all public money shall be published from time to time. No title of nobility shall be granted by the United States, and no person holding any office of profit or trust under them shall, without the consent of Congress, accept of any present emolument, office, or title of any kind, wherefore from any king, prince, or foreign state. Number 10. No state shall enter into any treaty, alliance, or confederation, grant letters of marque and reprisal, coin money, and emit bills of credit, make anything but gold and silver coin a tender in payment of debts, pass any bill attainder, ex post facto law, or law impairing the obligation of contracts, or grant any title of nobility. No state shall, without the consent of Congress, lay any imposts or duties on imports or exports except what may be absolutely necessary for executing its inspection laws, and the net produce of all duties and imposts laid by any state on imports or exports shall be for the use of the Treasury of the United States, and all such laws shall be subject to the revision and control of Congress. No state shall, without the consent of Congress, lay any duty of tonnage, keep troops or ships of war in time of peace, enter into any agreement, let me find where I was, or compact with another state or with a foreign power, or engage in war unless actually invaded in such imminent danger as will not admit of delay. Okay, Article 2. Sorry, I'm trying to get the glare off of here. I don't know why it's crooked. There. Article 2. Section 1. The executive power shall be vested in a President of the United States of America. He shall hold his office during the term of 4 years, and together with the Vice President chosen of the same term, be elected as follows. Each state shall appoint in such manner as the legislature thereof may direct a number of electors equal to the whole number of senators and representatives to which the state may be entitled in the Congress, but no senator or representative or person holding an office of trust or profit under the United States shall be appointed an elector. The electors shall meet in their respective states and vote by ballot for 2 persons, of whom one at least shall not be an inhabitant of the same state with themselves, and they shall make a list of all the persons voted for, and the number of votes for each shall list, which list they shall sign and certify and transmit sealed to the seat of the government of the United States, directed to the President of the Senate. The President of the Senate shall, in the presence of the Senate and House of Representatives, open all the certificates, and the votes shall then be counted. The person having the greatest number of votes shall be President. If such number be a majority of the whole number of electors appointed, and there be more than one who may have such a majority and have equal number of votes, then the House of Representatives shall immediately choose by ballot one of them for President, and if no person have majority, then from the 5 highest on the list, and those said House shall in like manner choose the President. But in choosing the President, the votes shall be taken by states, the representatives from each state having 1 vote. A quorum for this purpose shall consist of a member or members from 2/3 of the states, and a majority of all the states shall be necessary to a choice. In every case, after the choice of the President, the person having the greatest number of votes of the electors shall be the Vice President. But if there should remain 2 or more who have equal votes, the Senate shall choose from them by ballot the Vice President. The Congress may determine the time of choosing the electors and the day on which they shall give their votes, which day shall be the same throughout the United States. no person except a natural-born citizen or a citizen of the United States at the time of the adoption of this Constitution shall be eligible to the office of President. Neither shall any person be eligible to that office who shall not have attained the age of 35 and been 14 years a resident within the United States. In the case of removal of the President from office or his death, resignation, or inability to discharge the powers and duties of said office, the same shall devolve on the Vice President, and the Congress may by law provide for the case removal, death, resignation, or inability both of the President and Vice President, declaring what officer shall then act as President, and such officer shall act accordingly until the disability be removed or a President shall be elected. The President shall at stated times, receive for his services a compensation of which neither be increased nor diminished during the period for which he shall have been elected, and he shall not receive within that period any other emolument from the United States or any of them. Before he enter on the execution of his office, he shall take the following oath affirmation: I do solemnly swear or affirm that I will faithfully execute the office of the President of the United States and will, to the best of my ability, preserve, protect, and defend the Constitution of the United States. Section 2. No, Fox. Here's my little helper. He thinks he's going to hop up here. Don't you, Fox? The President shall be Commander-in-Chief of the Army and Navy of the United States and of the militia of several states when called into actual service of the United States. Let me read that again. The President shall be Commander-in-Chief of the Army and Navy of the United States and of the militia of the several states when called into the actual service of the United States. He may require the opinion in writing of the principal officer in each of the executive departments upon any subject relating to the duties of their respective offices, and he shall have power to grant reprieves and pardons for offenses against the United States, except in cases of impeachment. He shall have power by and with the advice and Fox. Stop. Sorry for the interruption. You're going to have to get down, Foxy. I'm reading. Get off my keyboard. Hold on. I got to get the cat out of the way. Maybe in a minute. Sorry, folks. All right. Paragraph 2. Section 2, paragraph 2. He shall have power by and with the advice and consent of the Senate to make treaties provided 2/3 of the senators present concur, and he shall nominate, and by and with the advice and consent of the Senate shall appoint ambassadors, other public ministers and consuls, judges of the Supreme Court, and all other officers of the United States whose appointments are not herein otherwise provided for, and shall be established by laws, but the Congress may by law vest the appointment of such inferior officers as they think proper in the President alone, in the courts of law, or in the heads of departments. The President shall have power to fill up all vacancies that may happen during the recess of the Senate by granting commissions which shall expire at the end of their next session. Section 3. He shall from time to time give to the Congress information of the state of the Union and recommend to their consideration such measures as he shall judge necessary and expedient. He may on extraordinary occasions convene both houses or either of them, and in case of a disagreement between them with respect to the time of adjournment, he may adjourn them to such time as he shall think proper. He shall receive ambassadors and other public ministers. He shall take care that the laws be faithfully executed, and shall commission all the officers of the United States. Section 4. The President, Vice President, and all civil officers of the United States shall be removed from office on impeachment for and conviction of treason, bribery, or other high crimes and misdemeanors. I think I'm going to stop right there and do a part 2, possibly 3 parts. So join you again here in a few minutes. Thank you for stopping by and watching reviews, views, and everything else.